walking down the street now. I'm like 5 blocks from the jail.
I have to go to prison tomorrow.
We get our this back. We going to jail.
I'm sitting right here thinking about how I went to jail for a whole felony.
And I am flying to Florida today to turn myself in.
So they ended up putting us both in the cop car and taking us in and booking us. And I remember I was like, a Class C felony, possession of.
Get ready with me to go to jail.
I was like, meet me at the police station because you coming to get me.
Hey guys, welcome back to Motor Life. Now before I get into this video, I ask that you like, comment, subscribe, also smash that notification bell just to be sure you get on my videos as soon as I release them. Let's get right into this.
I have to go to prison tomorrow. My kids will be okay. Story time. One of my best friends, she was wrongfully convicted of a crime she did not commit. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm going to respect her privacy. She is one of the most amazing friends that you could ever have. So God-fearing, and she has been positive this entire time that she's been locked up. I would have went crazy. She is one of the strongest people I have ever known.
Yo, so I'm walking down the street now. I'm like 5 blocks from the jail. I'm passing one of the police stations. I'm about to call y'all so we can have a little session. And yeah, come walk with me. I really don't even have any words to say. Like, I done said everything.
Those two women, both of them, they had the aura like they've been in that situation before. And I don't know if they're from like where I'm from, because where I'm from in New York, you get thrown in jail for the smallest thing. But still, they're used to it. And when you're used to something like that, it's kind of like you calling for it. Seriously, like, why are you ending up in these compromising situations all the time? Why is this happening to you?
If we get our this back, we going to jail.
Jail ain't nothing to play with.
Went to jail. Story time.
Who need to hear this, but get them folks back to furniture, because I'm just sitting right here thinking about how I went to jail for a whole felony because I did not pay on the sectional from Ashley Furniture. The sectional was like $1,800. Did not pay on it. Went to jail. Was in jail for 3 days. Cold as fuck crying. Snotty nose. Like, never been in trouble. Never been in jail. Don't have a record. First time going to jail. A whole felon. A whole felon. Like, that's so ghetto. So for the last 7 years of my life, can't get an apartment in my name, can't get no good job, couldn't even drive for Uber. Girl, Uber was like, no. So it's just like, the system is so, and I was wrong. Should have gave the folks back that shit. Should have paid on it, whatever the case may be. But it just seems so wrong. That shit seemed illegal. To be able to like put a felony on somebody who has never been in trouble.
Huh?
Non-violent. Just didn't pay on the sectional. Like, damn, I get y'all back y'all shit. Like, I just got my record clean 2 months ago. And I just want to, y'all be laughing and playing with them folks. I'm telling y'all, I just do not want nobody else to experience what I experienced. Because that is crazy.
Now, that was something where she should have read the contract, right? Ashley's Furniture, they give you furniture to lease, kind of like leasing a car. And yeah, it probably says somewhere in there in the fine print if you don't return our furniture in a certain amount of time. Meaning she probably didn't pay, and they probably said like within 2 months or 3 months return it. Now, that could have went past 2 months. Now, think about it. And it's one of them things like, hey, if you're 9 months late, it's a felony. You stole a furniture. And she didn't return the furniture. So what did they do? They went around and charged her with a felony and went to pursue her to get their furniture back. That's what they're going to do. They would have did it to anybody. I'm sure there's more people that have got felonies from Ashley's furniture. It's crazy, but it happens.
Get ready with me to turn myself into jail. My name is Taylor, and I live in the state of Maryland, and I am flying to Florida today to turn myself in for a warrant that I've had for the past 5 years. Long story short is that I lived in Florida for like a year and a half, but this was 5 years ago, and during that time I was like actively using. I didn't care about anyone but myself. When I had found out about the warrant, it was actually 2 years later, and at that point I was like still living the same lifestyle. So in my head, it just wasn't worth it to like take care of then. At that point, I just like had the mindset that, oh, I'm just never going to go to the state of Florida. Like Disney World, I've already been. Fast forward to later that year, I get pregnant with my son, and like the warrant was always in the back of my head, but I was just like, I didn't think anything was going to come of it. I knew I couldn't go to Florida and I couldn't leave the country, but I had a baby now. So like, I was fine not doing those things because it wasn't worth it for me to go to jail. December of 2021, I have 2 kids now at this point. So I was on my way home and I ran a red light. And so next thing you know, I get pulled over. Basically, the cop comes up to my window. He's like, ma'am, you know that you have a warrant. And I was like, what? I thought you could only see that in Florida.
Gotcha.
Wow. That's wild that warrant, was it a felony? Because if it wasn't a felony, I don't know what's going on nowadays, but got to be careful out there.
I went to prison for armed robbery and I never even touched the... And you know how adults are always saying, choose your friends wisely? There is what is called the hand of one is the hand of all law, also known as the accomplice liability theory. And what that means is that you only have to be with the person who commits the crime to be charged with the crime itself. If you were walking around with a friend at Walmart and your friend stole a lip gloss, and you didn't even notice and you didn't know she was going to steal it, but she got caught, you could be charged with shoplifting. I was locked up with a girl who had met some friends at the library at her school. She was a college student. She was talking to this new guy, and it was some of his friends. He asked her if she wanted to hang out that night, and she said yeah. They came to her dorm room and picked her up. On the way to wherever they were going, one of the friends was like, I need to stop at my house real quick. They pulled up, everybody got out and started walking up the drive. She was like, well, I'm just going to sit here and charge my phone. She's looking at her phone, just waiting. Turns out they were breaking and entering, and they had all of a sudden, all the friends come running out of the house. They jump in and they speed off. And she was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh, nothing, ha, ha, ha. And they tried to play it off like they were just trying to scare her. Later that night, they're hanging out at one of their houses and the police come busting in. She's like, whoa, like what in the world? And they said they were arresting her for first-degree burglary, assault and battery, and for armed robbery. She had to plea down from that crime, and she still got 10 years in prison. So yeah, choose your friends wisely.
Yeah, choose your friends wisely is right. But I remember one day, right, when I was in junior high, I had friends. And it's funny because we were an advanced learning institute, but I was a bad little boy, right? I did some things. And I was actually, I was the ringleader of the crew, right? I would take them stealing. But these guys, I hung out with one guy. He never went stealing with us, right? This kid was just a goody two-shoes guy, but he had a big mouth. And my pops heard him talking. And my pops is a CEO. And he said to me, he said, be careful hanging around that little... He said, I'm going to see him in jail one day. He said, little was like that, end up in jail. He said that about him. Guys, tell me why. That was 13 years old. 5 years later, he saw him in the lockup. He said, you know what I seen today? I said, who? He said, I seen, remember your friend Eugene? I said, yeah, I remember him. So I'm on the countdown. I told you. And I said, he's right. But my pops was 40 projects. He just knew. He knew the people that were like fast talkers. He would always say, you got a fast mouth, you could end up locked up. But he's the reason why I turned my life around. I had to. I'm around a man who's a good father and showed me the way. And he used to tell me all the time, don't hang around that guy, you end up in trouble. And yes, if you're with somebody, you'll get the same charge, even if you didn't do it.
Hi, TikTok. I'm going to jail today.
Okay.
I just want to give a warning to all those women out there who are going through custody and divorces with your ex-husbands or current husbands. I just want you to know, when your kids turn 18, nothing is going to end. My children are 24 years old, 21 years old, and 19 years old, and my ex-husband is still lying about me and still taking me to court. I have a rotten judge who's completely biased against me, and the same thing could happen to you. I am telling you, don't get divorced. Take your kids, flee the country, go to Mexico, because this whole family court system in the United States is completely broken. My ex-husband is...
Hold on. She said it's broken. For the woman? I gotta say it again. Shraggy? Guys, could we do on a Shraggy? No. The system is completely broken for the men. What state are you in? That would tell me a lot. I don't know what state she's in, but she must be in a state that those laws don't favor women as much. But let's let her finish.
Called the Oakland County Sheriff in Michigan on me probably about 60 times. He has said that I'm committing felonies. I'm going to blow up a building. He says I have stolen firearms in my house that I'm selling to criminals. On and on it goes. I can't even, there's so many things. When I try to think about it in the aggregate, I just get all overwhelmed. I have everything documented, all the police reports, but it never ever ends. So now I have to go spend 7 days in the Oakland County Jail because he got one of his lies to actually stick. See, it's kind of like throwing poop at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. And the same thing can happen to you. These vindictive, idiot men who are psychotic want revenge. And in my case, I believe my ex-husband wants me to unalive myself. And if I have to go to jail, so be it. I don't really care. And I'll go in there and I'll preach Jesus to the prisoners. If that's what God wants me to do, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn lemons into lemonades. So let him still keep playing his games and contacting you, Oakland County Sheriff. I really wish you would wake up and see through his lies. Don't they teach you this in part of your police training? So anyway, moms, if you're going through a contentious divorce, just know you're going to be in it for the long haul, because my kids turned 18 in 2018 and I'm still going through it. And I have been going through this for 8 years. I've spent over $400,000. I have no money left. I have equity loans on my house. My whole retirement is gone. And he just never stops like the Energizer Bunny. So off to jail I go. Everyone have a great day.
Something's up with that situation. Like, you're doing something, like, seriously, because this doesn't happen. I don't care what state it's in. This doesn't happen like that. But why are you sitting there dealing with it? Why are they taking his side? How is it sticking? What did you do in your past? You must have had a shady past, but she didn't mention. She must have been locked up for weapons or something. I think she was a felon in the past, and that's why he's doing that. And why are you sitting there with your boobs out? But yeah, something's off.
I was addicted to methamphetamine for almost 20 years. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. And I also did some prison time. Let's talk about it. I caught a charge back in the day. A lot of you guys don't know that because I don't really talk about it a lot. I didn't do a lot of time behind it, but I want to share with you guys what happened and what my experience was like. So in 2008, I was riding shotgun in my own car and allowing this guy named Quincy to drive my car. Quincy and I had just got done delivering some to a friend's house, and we got everybody high and hung out for a couple hours, and then we left to go back to my friend Nate's house. Well, on the drive back, Quincy's high ass ran a stop sign. Now, up until about a year ago, I didn't realize we had ran the stop sign. I actually applied for my paperwork, FOIA requested my paperwork, and I read it, and I read what the police officer had wrote, and basically what he said was, we were driving down Woodlawn Avenue, and Quincy ran a stop sign. Then he proceeded to pull us over and call backup because he knew Quincy from past experiences arresting him other times, and he had a warrant for his arrest. So they pull us over and they get Quincy out on the ground and they're patting him down, and they get me out on the ground and they're patting me down, and I am scared because I am high as
I wonder why they left.
Okay, I am tweaking my balls off. So they're asking me if the in my purse was mine. And so I told them no. I don't know whose meth that is. I wasn't blaming it on Quincy, but I sure as hell wasn't taking responsibility for it. I was lying my off. I don't know whose those are. I found them underneath a tree. So they ended up putting us both in the cop car and taking us in and booking us. And I remember I was like I had never been in trouble before in my life, and I just caught a felony, a Class C felony, possession of meth. So I was pants, bro. I remember I called my parents and I was like, can you bail me out of jail? And my mom and dad were like, no, we're not bailing you out. That was one of the first times my parents had ever really told me no and set some firm boundaries with me in my addiction. At that point, I had been in active addiction for about 8 years. And so it was a big deal that they were saying, no, we're not going to bail you out. Luckily for me, or I don't know how lucky it was, but luckily for me, Quincy actually had some friends that put up their Harley to get us both out. And we were out by that evening, probably like an hour or two later. And I hit the streets running right back to Nate's house, getting high.
You can't make this up.
And trying to ignore the fact that I had just caught a felony charge. For the next year, I basically tried to forget the fact that I caught a felony. You know what I'm saying? I went to court. My lawyer was like, we're going to ask for 3 years probation. And that's what you'll do, because I didn't want to take prison time and I didn't want to go to court. So I ended up getting assigned the 3 years probation. Long story short of it is I failed my probation miserably. I wasn't ready to get sober. I didn't realize how I was going to have to come in every single month and test, and I could not pass those tests. So after about 10 failed tests, my probation officer sent me to treatment. I relapsed out of treatment, and then she sent me to prison.
That was the title right there. Title woman going to jail and they deserve it. She deserved it. Now, when you got 10 warnings, wow. He really didn't want to put you in jail. Then call that person, whoever it was, man or woman, and thank them. Say thank you, because 10 times, he or she didn't want to put you in jail. They were trying to give you a chance. They know addiction is hard. It is. It's no laughing matter. And you were struggling. You were really struggling. And that's the same thing. Be careful who you hang around. But she was caught up in her life. She was caught up in it. It wasn't just her wanting to be around a bad boy. She was on that stuff. And yeah, it's not sad because you was on it.
Good morning. It's 8:48 a.m. Get ready with me to go to jail. So proud. Because I was an idiot who did something really bad. So I have to go to jail for 2 days. I'm kind of going like full glam because I want my mugshot to be cute. But I don't have a hairbrush, so I'm like straightening my hair without any brush and it's rough. But anyway, I'm worried about a few things. So I already took off all my nails. My hands are disgustingly ugly. This is the first time I haven't had nails in like 6 years. I am wondering if they're gonna make me rip out my lash extensions.
Well, actually.
Okay. Also, I wonder if they're gonna make me rip out my hair extensions that are sewn in. Those are two things that I can't take out on my own. But I know they're not allowed. Well, I don't know about lashes. I don't know. Kind of worried about those. But really worried about my hair because
They have women in jail that can probably take it out for you. Or they probably don't. Who knows?
just paid the $400 to get the put in. And I don't want to have to do it again. So worried about that. I'll update you on that. I have to take out all my piercings and those are going to close. I got a nose piercing, some piercings, and then like my belly piercings, but my belly button piercings will stay open because I've had them for years. But I'll be back after I do like my hair and my glam. Okay, I'm ready. Obviously you guys aren't gonna get an update until I'm out of jail, but taking out my belly piercings.
Man. Wow.
Neither have I. I've actually been arrested. I've been to jail. And I'm not proud of it, but I do recognize that it's part of my story. My story in being arrested and going to jail did not stop me from becoming an attorney.
Congratulations.
I'm bored, so I'm just tell y'all the story time about how when I was locked up and I was in juvenile detention, me and my two homegirls tag teamed this other girl. Mind you, I'm not for that jumping, none of that but this really ass. So basically, I was
in jail. There's always women that look like Barbie dolls. And there's always guys like that too in jail. I mean, you would never expect it, but she's with all the smoke. And they be gorgeous like this, and they will cut your head off. That's how those women are. But let's hear her story.
Mind you, I'm not for that jumping, none of that but this ass. So basically, I was roommates with this girl named Destiny, and then she had a best friend, her name was Shay. So the way our rooms were set up, like it was a room on this side, going all the way down the hallway, right? So just keep that in mind for later on. So basically, when somebody new is coming in and like going through the intake process, everybody knows that somebody new is coming. We don't know who it is, their name, nothing, but we know somebody's coming, right? So this girl ends up finishing her intake process around dinner time. We're all lined up, sending the count back, and she like jumps in line. So we get downstairs, we're all still in line, and I'm hearing like whisper down the alley that this girl Isabel thinks that I was talking. I don't know how she knew who I was. I don't know how it even became for her thinking that I was talking to her. So whatever. The way it was, after dinner, we end up going outside. Like our rec time is after dinner. So before we can go outside, we always go back up to our rooms, and then we line back up and then go outside to make sure everybody's in line. So this new girl ends up being roommates with this girl named Caitlin that I was friends with. And when we line back up to go outside, Caitlin comes up to me and she's like, "Oh, that girl thinks you were talking shit." I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, just came in an hour ago. I don't even know her to be talking to her." So then we get outside, and when we get outside and we all break up in the line, I go up to her, the Isabel, like, I don't understand, like, why you think I'm talking to you? I don't even know you from a can of paint. I don't know you just got here. I don't know who's telling you I'm talking to you. And mind you, this is on the weekend. The weekends are way different than the weekdays.
All right, so I'm going to stop it right there. Because she goes on for about another 2 minutes, 3 minutes, telling her story. Now, we already seen. She was in jail, and she definitely deserved it. She's participating in all the activities, the negative activities. She was with it. She was young, living her life. And this is why, right? You can't trust the big butt and the smile. Remember Belle Biv DeVoe? When I seen her, I thought about Belle Biv DeVoe. When they said, can't trust the big butt and the smile. Never trust the big butt and the smile. That girl is poison. That girl is poison. Yeah, man. She's bad. You see her in the street, this would be the kind of girl that'd be a broken girl. Seriously. And she was one of those girls that probably was in a group home. If anybody knows about that, she was trouble. Those that know what I'm talking about.
Okay, part 2 of the time I went to jail. So when I left off, I told y'all that my mama told me to go and turn myself in. So I'm like, go turn myself in. She was like, yes, go turn yourself in. She was like, the easiest way to do it is to go to a bail bondsman, go ahead and bond yourself out, and then go turn yourself in. So I'm like, oh my God, like I really gotta go to jail? And I was pissed because I was really innocent. So it pissed me off because here I am having to go turn myself into jail for something that I really did not do. So I called James and I'm like, hey, John really did sign this warrant on me. And he was like, what? I was like, yes, she really did sign a warrant on me. I was like, I gotta go and turn myself in. So he was like, okay, what do you need me to do? I was like, meet me at the police station because you coming to get me. So I was like, you know what? Scratch that. You just come to my house, pick me up, and we're going to go down there together. So he was like, okay, cool. So he comes and he picks me up. We go to the bail bondsman first. And I was like, hey, you know, I got to go and turn myself in. I want to go ahead and post bail. So the bail bondsman was like, okay, cool. So he pulls up all the information and he tells me how much my bail is going to be. So I was like, James, you need to pay this man. So James was like, all right, cool. So James pays my bail. I walk across the street to the police station. The man comes downstairs and he was like, I'm gonna need you to place your hands behind your back. And I was like, I gotta place my hands behind my back like I'm a real criminal? And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, I could just walk up there myself. I don't really need you to put me in handcuffs. Like, I'm not gonna run. He was like, yeah, I know, but you know, we have to do it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Man, when I stuck my hands behind my back and that man cuffed me, at that point, I really wanted to go and do something to Joan, to really go to jail for a real crime, because you got me locked up on some false charges. I bet. So the charges turned out to be harassment of communications, because she said that I called her and said that I was going to unalive her, James, and their children. So I go upstairs and get processed in. They didn't put me in a big cell with everybody else. They put me off in a cell by myself. So in like 30 minutes after they processed my paperwork, they was calling my name again for me to get out. Well, when I got out, I go back downstairs. Of course, James is waiting on me. And I was like, I can't believe that this happened to me. I'm like, at this point, I really want to go and hit her, because what? So after me and James leave the jailhouse, the story continues. Like for part 3.
Yeah, guys, these entitled women go to jail and they deserve it. A lot of them do. And most people aren't trying to be, because this is the thing. Guys get caught up, especially like the bad one, the guy that find himself, oh, that girl is bad. I'm going to take her home, give her something to eat, right? Dress up nice. No, don't do it. That's worse. Taking a woman home with that, you guys know, is worse than dating a single mother. You might as well have 5 single mothers rather than have someone that came from jail. But yeah, nobody wants to do that because they realize it's definitely more to life than being involved with something like that.